Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara. We talk about TV shows here, and this is going to be Twilight Zone. It's Season 3, Episode 36. It is called Cavender is Coming. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. It's the penultimate episode, I believe, of Season 3. Because there's 37 of them in this season, and we have a kind of a comedy version of It's a Wonderful Life, I guess would be a fair way to describe this episode. We have a guardian angel who has not quite earned his wings and is going to get demoted if he doesn't pull off this last chance, and he's given this character of Agnes, played by Carol Burnett, who has a very... See, I didn't see the show she was on, but I did recognize her face a little bit. She has a very distinct face.
Yeah.
But she's slapsticking her way around. She's very clumsy, and he's sent down to try and help her out. And hopefully, if he succeeds, he'll be given his wings. And that is the premise of the episode. I guess the twist on It's a Wonderful Life is basically not that the character, because It's a Wonderful Life, the premise is that the character is going to kill himself, and the angel has to convince him why he's important to everyone else so that he'll want to live. Whereas here, the joke is more that the character is quite content with her life as it is, and the angel just assumes that she wants to be rich and have like all these high society friends and have all this money, and all it does is makes her miserable.
Bring her happiness.
Yeah. And then the joke is he's the one who learns the lesson by the end of the episode, which is, no, I like going bowling with my dumb friends on a Thursday. I like, all my neighbors that I interact with. I don't want to be in a different class of society. Yeah. And that's the basic gist of the episode. So, Tara, what did you think of Cavender is Coming?
I think it is a fun episode. I think, I like Carol Burnett, and so I think a lot of her slapstick is good. I don't think all the jokes work, but that's like pretty common to these comedic Twilight Zone episodes, is that they tend not to be that funny. But like the message is kind of sweet, and I think it's okay. It seems like this is their Christmas episode of the season or something.
I'm pretty sure this would have aired in like May or June. So, well,
they had a Christmas one last season.
They did, yeah.
And actually, one of the actors I think was in that one, because I recognize Piglet's voice from Winnie the Pooh. He's in this episode. And I think he was in that Santa one also, or he's in another Twilight Zone episode.
I'll take your word for it. I mean, I don't know Piglet's voice to clock it, but
it's the one with the really cute, sweet voice.
I thought it was okay. Like, I think there's some entertainment to be had. Some of her reactions, or the way she kind of like isn't impressed with his guardian angelness, she just kind of like fobs him off and is like, yeah, that's nice, but can you go away now? Like, she's got kind of an attitude that's not mean, but just kind of like, I'm kind of okay, I'll go away. That's kind of amusing. At the same time, though, some of the slapstick, like, I kind of both like and dislike at the same time, just how over the top some of it is. Like, the opening scene with her on Earth is that she has got a new job at a theatre, and she's meant to be this, like, usher type girl, and
/ burlesque dancer. I don't know what their outfits were.
Yeah,
my first job was at a theater also. They didn't make us wear that.
Yeah. Did you also have like sign language codes for like all the different commands that the manager might want you to, like, this means you're on the middle of the floor, and this means you have to go down that aisle, and that means
we
you
had
have to
walkie-talkies, so we had walkie-talkie code and code names.
Oh, exciting. Foxy's all about the walkie-talkie code names.
Someone's barking out there. I mean, another dog.
Someone.
Probably not a human.
Probably. You can never tell. Times are rough. Yeah. Everyone's under a lot of stress, Tara. So,
I know. Hey, we're doing a recording, Foxy. Red light's on.
So, some of this is vaguely amusing. It does kind of go on a little bit long, though, like to the point where I thought the entire episode was going to be set at this theater, because they spent so much time establishing this manager and how he was reacting to her, like, on her failure to comprehend what he was telling her. So I thought, he's going to be like a main supporting character, but then after like this opening scene, he's gone forever. We never see any of these characters again. Plus it also ends with her tripping and going through an entire window into his office.
She's fine, by the way.
It's just she's fine. It's complete slapstick. It's complete, which is totally fine. Like if that's the tone of the episode, that's the tone.
Yeah, it was a pretty big crash though, pretty big accident.
But we spent so much time with establishing this status quo, this setting of her at this theatre. I thought the whole episode was going to be her trying to do different jobs in the theatre, and the guardian angel would be helping her try to do certain things and whatnot. But then she gets, we cut away and she's going home and she's fired and she's like talking to her neighbours and stuff. And well, we don't go straight there. There's the bus first, because the angel goes on about how he can transport them around into different types of So on the bus, the guardian angel's like, hey, look, I can sort of do a little hand movement, and all of a sudden they're on the back of a convertible, and then they're on the back of like a carriage, and they're in different time periods, they're in different locations, but the driver's always the same guy. It's the bus driver. And when they get to the end of this bus journey and he pulls up at her stop, he just stands up and says, if the my supervisor comes by, tell him I've resigned. And then he jumps out the window, a closed window. He smashes through the window.
Yeah, I'll say, when he stands up and resigns, I actually thought that was really funny. And then he jumped out the window. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? Why did you go this far? Him just getting up and like quitting because he just had a really weird day. Like, it's hilarious to me. I don't know about the jumping out the window. That just that was too much.
I completely agree. I think the first part is funny because he just like teleported between like 2 or 3 different time periods and locations and vehicles. But the jumping out the window at the end just kind of felt like, wait, like I get that she already like fell through a window, so we've kind of established a bit of a tone, but it also doesn't feel like that absurd. It's not an absurd comedy where the people are just throwing themselves through windows.
Yeah, I did but when he stood up, he's like, "Yep, I'm done. I'm out. Can't deal with this. I'm going home." Like that would have been great. Like that was already funny. Like you didn't have to add the extra like weird part.
Yeah, well, especially since it kind of feels that the guardian angel here has ruined this man's life, because now he's maybe a little crazy because he's been through this traumatic experience enough to jump through a goddamn window. He's probably got a concussion now as well, so he's got a concussion. He's like going crazy.
He parked next to like a park on the wrong side of the road immediately.
No, I'm sure there was like so there was road works just right outside. They were doing the cement again, so he just went into wet cement. So now he's just flailing around. Like that might have made it funny. See if we actually followed her off the bus and in the background you see him like getting up from whatever stupid thing he landed in. Like maybe that would have made it funny. Like because there'd be like a follow up to it. But
I mean, it was already so over the top. Anyway,
the comedy's over the top at points. I think maybe the critique I'd have of this episode is that the first half has more of the comedy in it, because the second half, which is basically
the comedy comes from her reactions in the second half. Yeah.
Well, no, in the first half as well, because the second half it's mostly a montage of just like her at this party. He transports her to a mansion which she now owns. And she's like all these high society friends talking to her, and she gets kind of bored. And
meanwhile, the angel's getting drunk off of gin and hanging out with all the rich people. Also, like he's just there to party. I don't think he's actually there to help her.
Which, obviously it's part of the point of the episode is that he's doing what he thinks would make her happy, not what she would actually be happy with. Which that's what makes him happy. So that's what he's doing. And that's fine, but like I don't know if I got a whole lot of entertainment out of the second half of the episode. Like the start of the second half, which is him explaining that he's there to help her, and he sort of like pulls out a little pocket. I did laugh a little bit though that when he says, "I'm going to make you rich," and then he puts like 20 grand in her. And don't get me wrong, if 20 grand appeared in my bank account, I'd be very happy. But I wouldn't consider myself rich.
Far.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm rich now."
Yeah,
obviously that's inflation, right? I'm sure in 1962 or whatever we're at right now, that was probably a nice hefty little amount.
Sure. I mean, if I suddenly had $20,000 added to my bank account, I'd be like, "Ooh, that's nice. That'll last me a few months living here."
I mean, you'd probably be like, oh, it takes me out of the negative. I now have a total of $500.
$0.
That's exciting. Oh dear. We should retitle this series to Millennials React to the Twilight Zone. Because times have changed.
Yeah.
But so once they get to this,
there was a little bit of commentary, I thought, about it, because she goes back to her where she was living, and she's upset because her place has been rented out. Someone else lives there. Nobody knows who she is. Mm-hmm. And she's still dressed like this high society person, trying to fit in, and like someone makes a comment to her like, you don't belong here. So like someone she's friends with who doesn't recognize her, and the angel's like, well, yeah, like you're not part of them anymore. You're not part of this crowd anymore. Like you're gonna have, like, in order to have the high society life, there have to be people who live the low society life, and she's saying like, well, I don't want that. It's a little bit of like, there's going to be unfairness in this type of world that we live in, but like, which side do you want to be on? And he thinks you'd obviously want to be on the high society side, but she's like, no, I don't. I don't belong there.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. I would say it leans more towards, though, just kind of like being happy with what you have, and realizing what you do already have, and also the idea that he just like has this like one idea of this is obviously what everyone wants. This is what makes everyone happy. Is this lifestyle. And she's like, no, I liked my apartment. It was small, but it was my, it had character. It was my character, and I like going bowling on Thursday nights. And he's like, oh, you can't go bowling. That's like it's a poor person's pastime. You're going to be doing croquet now. You're going to be out there with your croquet bat or racket or
tennis and golf,
whatever.
Yeah.
So like that stuff's all fine, and it kind of. It's almost kind of like a comedy of errors in a weird way, where he's actually done a good job when he goes back up to the clouds and he's like supervisors like grilling him and telling him everything he did wrong, but then when they look down at her, she's like, oh, she's actually quite happy. Like, she's happier than when she was when you showed up. How did you achieve that kind of thing? And it's like, oh, he inadvertently made her happier than she was before because now she realizes
an appreciation for what she has.
Which I think is why I go back to it's kind of like a accidental It's a Wonderful Life, because he wasn't trying to do that. But
also, he is kind of a shitty like guardian angel.
Oh, he's
he just watches her like injure herself over and over again. But also, he doesn't like guide her into like being whatever his version of successful is. Instead, it's just, here it is. I'm just going to give it to you.
Oh yeah, you do.
And you can figure it out from there. Like there's nothing that's earned. It's all just gifted.
Yeah, it's not training a man to fish. It's just throwing a bunch of fish at him.
You'd think the other guardian angels would have an issue with this.
You would think. They're not doing a very good job of supervising them.
We're looking over this scroll of parchment of what you did on Earth, and I'm sorry, but you're going to have to try again.
Yeah. I guess overall this kind of falls into that mid-tier of like comedy episode that this sometimes has, where they're not great, they're not terrible, they're entertaining enough, but I'm not going to find this one that memorable. I'm never going to recommend this episode in its own for any reason.
No, I mean, just it's the one with Carol Burnett, like, is the thing that I think of.
What I will say, a little touch I liked, is that when it shows you the start that she's clumsy because she trips, and then it goes to Rod Serling, who's like standing over her. I do like that he walks over her. You can see him like sort of like stepping over her during his intro.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice little touch. Something they should maybe do more often is have him kind of like not directly interact with the character, but like do something like that where he's.
I like it when he's more in the scene organically, like when he's sitting at a table or something that's in a diner. I know there was one in a recent episode, but we took a little bit of a break, so I can't remember which one it was, where I did feel like it's sort of what Jordan Peele had been doing with the new series, which I don't think was like the bad part of it at all, but like it would just go to a part of the corner and he's just like one of the audience members, or he's one of the people walking through the neighborhood, or it felt very much like he's there too.
I had a lot of problems with the new Twilight Zone. None of it had anything to do with how they transitioned to Jordan Peele for his intros.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just a fun way to interact without directly interacting. I know there was that one episode, of course, he kind of spoke to a kid because it was the season 1 finale where it was more directly related to a writer.
That was like a super meta episode.
Yeah. But I kind of like the idea of him sort of loosely interacting without actually like talking to them or anything like that. It's just more like, they're physically there, but like they don't really know that Rod's there. Like Rod should be unseen to them, you know. He should be able to like, walk between a like two people looking at each other. He should be able to walk between them and them not react to him, kind of thing. Like I'm all for it. I never actually got a next time on. He never came on at the end.
I didn't either.
Yeah, but this is not the last episode. I wonder if these were swapped out of order, maybe. Like after they shot them, maybe they weren't planning that for.
Yeah,
to be
maybe. Although the first season one did have next time on, and they just described the pilot episode.
They did, yeah. Maybe it's a case of they didn't know they were going to do an extra episode because 36 was what the first season was. So maybe they thought 36 was the last one and then said, no, do another one. Like, oh shit.
Maybe.
So maybe they didn't film a next time one. But luckily we have IMDb here in the future of 2021, so we can check and see what's coming next. The Changing of the Guard is the title of the episode, and the description is as follows. After being forced to retire, Professor Fowler contemplates suicide when he doesn't feel he's made a difference in the world. This is weirdly, like, it's not, obviously it's not Angels again, but given how much we brought up It's a Wonderful Life during this episode, it's kind of funny that the next one feels like it's also kind of connecting to that a little bit.
Yeah.
We have these.
This one was written by Rod. Is this one also?
It is, yes. It's interesting.
Maybe he just watched the film.
It's interesting we keep having these like thematic pairs. There's a bit of notable casting in this though. Donald Pleasance is in this episode, so could be good things.
Pre-Bond.
1962. I mean, was he? What was the first Bond he was in? Because I'm pretty sure Dr. No was like this same year.
Yeah, he wasn't in that one. He was in
the one after.
I don't know. He wasn't in Golden Gun, was he? I can't remember.
I'm not a Bond fan. You say like the pre-Bond. That's just pre-Halloween. That's the important part.
I mean, that's obvious, but that Bond is the earliest thing I can think of him. This
is Sam Loomis from Smith's Grove Sanitarium. From the Halloween movies. That's who Donald Pleasance is, please. Thank you very much. But yeah, so no, that casting is kind of exciting. I'll be curious to see what he's like.
You Only Live Twice, Blofeld, which was 1967.
Oh, good 5 years then. There you go. All right, well, that's what's coming next time. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Do like and subscribe, all that stuff. It helps us out a lot on YouTube if you do. Tara is going to tell you all about the Patreon.
Yep. If you enjoy our reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It is patreon.com/MalphasTV. And if you donate as low as $1 per month, you'll get bonus episodes for other shows we do. And if you donate $5 per month, you will get access to the Twilight Zone episodes 1 week early. Thank you.
Yep. And catch us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates and that sort of thing. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you very much for joining us once again. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV in the Twilight Zone.